So today I'm going to talk about doing no-dig potatoes in two different ways. One's going to be in these buckets and the other one we're going to do in some straw. So let's get on with it and show you both methods. So for this first method, we're using these 30-litre buckets. They're good sturdy buckets, nice good big handles. What we've done is mixed up a mixture of compost, with a little bit of potato fertiliser and some blood, fish and bone in there. What I'm going to do is just fill that up to about a third full, and then we're just going to put our potatoes. I'm going to put 2 of these potatoes in to the side handles of the buckets. Now, putting 2 in here because these are our main crop potatoes, so they're like indeterminate potatoes, which means that they'll actually grow throughout the bucket on all different layers. When we were doing our first earlies and second earlies, we put 4 in, 2 at the 3rd layer and then 2 at the 2/3 layer. So we put 2 in by the handles and then 2 in on opposite at different layers, because those potatoes, so they're the first earlies and second earlies, they will actually only grow on the layer that they're actually on. So by putting 2 sets in, one high and one low, you get the most. But for these ones, these are main crop potatoes, an indeterminate variety, so they'll actually grow throughout the bucket. So we only want 2 main potatoes in there. So just going to put that in there, firm that down gently, and then I'm just going to spread some of this finely chopped up straw on the top there. Put our stick in for our variety and our sodate, and that's the first method done. And then we're going to plant up 3 buckets of these, which are Cara, and also the Maris Piper, and we've also got several buckets of the first earlies and second earlies. So that is first method. Let me take you over to the bed and show you what our second method is going to be. So here we are over in the other bed. Now this bed is about I guess about 1.5 meters by 1.5 meters, so probably about 4 or 5 foot by the same the other way. And this idea came about because in an earlier video that I did, I was telling everybody how I'd got hold of a load of straw. I hadn't quite appreciated how much straw was in a bale, so ended up with absolutely tons of straw and not really sure what to do with it. So one person suggested, actually, why don't you try growing your potatoes in it? So this is the method we're going to be using here. So we put in the potatoes, so this is like good quality compost in the bottom, and then what I'm going to do is sprinkle a little bit of potato fertiliser on the top, and then what we're going to do is top that off with straw. So we're not going to cover these potatoes, we're just going to leave them sitting on the surface, and we're going to top that off with a little bit of straw. And we built up these sides so that when as the potatoes grow up through, we can just keep piling on more and more straw, so the whole of the potato is going to be growing into the straw layer. So we've got our little labels here, which is in this row we've got some Arran Pilot and some Pentland Javelin, which are first earlies. Then we've got some Charlottes and some Malfona potatoes, and in this one we've got some Kestrel ones, and then down at the end we've got some leftover Maris Piper and Cara main crop potatoes. So we've got a mixture of all the different potatoes, the same as we've got in the buckets, and then we'll see at the end of the season how well they've grown in just straw compared to actually growing in soil with just a straw top to keep the moisture in. So without further ado, let's get on, get some straw in here and cover these up. Separate out just and give it everything a good covering. And as I say, as any of the potatoes start to come up through, then we will just deepen the layer of straw until we're up to this sort of level, and that will give us more than enough room for the potatoes to actually just be growing. Potatoes be able to set their roots down into the soil, and then the actual rest of the potatoes will actually just be growing in the soil. And then hopefully come the summer when we want to harvest these, and in the autumn when we're going to be harvesting some of them, it will be just a case of pulling back this straw and finding the potatoes. But that's the theory anyway. We'll be testing it out to see how well it does. So there we have it all covered up with straw, and we'll leave that to settle down. We'll do some rain in the coming days, so we won't water that in too much because the soil's quite damp anyway, and then the coming rain will actually dampen that down. But hopefully the sides will stop that actually coming off and blow all the wind blowing the straw away. And as soon as we see any life coming up through, we shall then, if you like, earth up with some more straw. So that's my two methods for actually doing the actual potatoes this year. So we shall wait and see which one proves best, and if you want to find out later in the season which one works best for us, hit the subscribe button, and then you can see what the results are later in the year when we do potato reveals. So thanks for joining me today, and if you've got any questions, just leave a comment down below and let me know. Cheerio.